They say blood is thicker than water. But in my story, blood was poisoned by the very woman who entered my father's house as family. Before we begin, subscribe to this channel for more powerful African folktales, stories of betrayal, destiny, and the kind of justice only God can write. My name is Amara, the only daughter of my late mother. From the day my stepmother, Mama Joy, stepped into our compound, hatred followed her footsteps. She didn't hide it. She wanted her own daughter, Joy, to shine like gold, even if I had to fade into dust. When the news spread that the prince of our kingdom was searching for a wife, the entire village caught fire. Girls gathered like market yams at dawn, each one hoping destiny would point in her direction. But Mama Joy had already written her own plan. A wicked plan meant to send me far away, so her daughter could stand where I was meant to be. She thought she had erased my future. What she didn't know was this: God writes better stories than any stepmother's cruel pen. The rooster crowed 3 times before the sun climbed over the hills of Umui village. A small girl with bright, innocent eyes hurried across the compound, lifting a clay pot almost heavier than her own body. That girl was me, Amara. Only 8 years old, yet already carrying responsibilities meant for grown women. My mother died when I was 5. Her memory lived only in fragments, her soft voice humming while braiding my hair beneath the mango tree, the warm smell of okra soup bubbling gently in the clay pot, the way her laughter filled the compound like morning light. All of it now rested beneath the red earth, where she was buried behind our home. My father, Mazi Okafor, loved me deeply, but grief had stolen his words. From sunrise to sunset, he worked his farm, and at night he sat quietly, staring into nothing. Sometimes I would sit beside him and hold his hand. We didn't speak. Silence had become our shared language. Then the whispers began at the stream. Papa Amara cannot live like this forever. Who will cook for him? Who will care for the child? And one rainy season, Mama Joy arrived. She came with sharp eyes, a heavy voice, and her daughter Joy, plump, proud, and always watching. The compound changed instantly. Palm oil stew filled the air, but so did harsh words and cold laughter. At first I was happy. Finally, I have a sister, I thought. I gave Joy my favorite calabash, the one my mother used to serve me pap. She looked at it with disgust and tossed it aside. Mama Joy laughed. Amara, everything in this house belongs to both of you now. Learn to share. But sharing soon revealed its true meaning. The biggest piece of fish always landed in Joy's bowl. New slippers my father bought somehow found Joy's feet. Wrappers meant for me were declared too fine, and handed to her instead. Whenever I spoke up, Mama Joy's voice cut through me like a blade. Don't be like your weak mother. In this house, we don't pamper children. My father tried to keep peace, but Mama Joy's words filled every corner of the compound. Slowly, I understood the truth. My father loved me, but a shadow had entered our home. A shadow that favored only one child, and erased the memory of my mother. That was how my story truly began. Growing up beneath the memory of a mother I lost, and under the cruelty of a stepmother who never let me forget my place. One morning, the stream buzzed with excitement. Calabashes knocked together, water splashed, laughter rose. The news had spread like wildfire. The Prince of Umui is searching for a wife. Every maiden suddenly walked taller. Palm oil glistened brighter on skins. Hope floated in the air like morning mist. As the women filled their pots, whispers turned to teasing laughter. The palace has announced it. The prince will choose his bride during the next moon festival. May God open his eyes so he doesn't choose a stubborn one. Then, someone looked toward me. I was bent quietly by the water's edge, rinsing my clay pot, unaware that destiny was already watching. Her wrapper was old, but neatly tied. Her hair was carefully braided, and her skin glowed, not from oils or powders, but from years of honest farm work. One of the women smiled knowingly. "Siamra," she whispered. "If beauty alone is what the prince seeks, Then our village has already produced a queen. Laughter rippled through the women. Some nodded in agreement, others teased playfully. Amara, you better start practicing how to greet on one knee like a palace wife. Don't forget us when you begin to eat from golden plates. Amara blushed deeply and shook her head. Please, leave me, she said softly. I am just Amara, the one who fetches water and farms with her father. But their words clung to her like shadows. And deep inside her chest, something unfamiliar stirred, a warm, quiet hope. She had never imagined herself sitting beside a prince. She didn't know she was not alone. Hidden beneath the shade of a tall palm tree stood Mama Joy. She had arrived late at the stream and stopped when she heard the laughter. Every word pierced her ears like thorns. Amara, the prince's wife? Over my dead body, she muttered. Her eyes darted to her own daughter, Joy, struggling to balance a half-filled calabash on her head, her round face glistening with sweat. Mama Joy's lips tightened. Right there at the stream, a seed of jealousy took root in her heart. By the time she adjusted the cloth on her shoulder and walked away, her mind was already boiling with plans. That day, the women laughed innocently, unaware they had ignited a fire in the heart of a wicked stepmother. That evening, the moon hung pale over the compound, stretching long shadows across the red earth. Crickets chirped. Firewood crackled as Mama Joy stirred a pot of soup. But her thoughts were far from the food. They were fixed on the gossip from the stream. She glanced at Amara, sitting quietly by the fire, peeling cassava. Her beauty was effortless, the kind that did not beg for attention. That was exactly the problem. Mama Joy's lips twisted. This girl must not outshine my daughter. Later that night, Papa Amara sat outside on a wooden stool, sipping palm wine after a long day on the farm. Mama Joy joined him. With a heavy sigh, she began to plant her poison. Papa Amara, she said softly, this your daughter is becoming a problem. He frowned. Amara? What has she done? Don't you see how stubborn she is? Mama Joy snapped. She does not respect me. When I send her, she drags her feet. And people in the village are already talking, saying she is too forward, too proud. Papa Amara shifted uneasily. He knew his daughter. Quiet, humble, hard-working. But Mama Joy pressed on. She is growing into a young woman, she whispered like it was a dangerous secret. I don't want shame to enter this family. Soon men will start chasing her. Tomorrow, they will say she brought disgrace upon us. Papa Amara rubbed his beard. But she is still a child. That is why we must act now, Mama Joy said firmly. Send her to my brother in the next village. Let her stay there until she is older. She will be safe, and this house will have peace. Silence fell between them. Papa Amara stared at the ground for a long time. His heart was torn. Finally, he nodded slowly. If it will bring peace, then so be it. Mama Joy's eyes glittered. She hid her smile behind her hand. That night, Amara lay beneath the raffia roof, staring at the stars through a hole in the thatch. She did not know her fate had already been sealed. In the silence of the night, a wicked plan took shape. Morning came like a thief. The rooster had not crowed twice when Mama Joy's sharp voice cut through the compound. Amara, hurry up. Pack your things. You are leaving today. Amara blinked, clutching her wrapper. Leaving where, Mama? No answer. An old raffia bag landed at her feet. Your father has decided. You will stay with my brother in Umuki village. Pack only what you need. There is no time for questions. Papa Amara stood by the doorway, head bowed. He could not meet his daughter's eyes. Amara's heart raced. She wanted to ask why. She wanted to ask what she had done wrong. Instead, tears filled her eyes as she quietly packed 2 wrappers, her old school slate, and the calabash cup her late mother once used to feed her pap. That was all she carried. By mid-morning, she walked down the dusty path, the raffia bag on her shoulder. Her friends from the stream ran after her. "Amara, where are you going?" one asked breathlessly. She forced a smile. "They say I should stay with relatives in Umuki." The girls exchanged worried glances. One hugged her tightly. "Don't forget us. Don't forget Umui." Amara's tears flowed freely. She looked back once. Mama Joy stood proudly in front of the compound, arms folded. Joy peeked from behind her, wearing a smug smile. Papa Amara remained inside, too ashamed to come out. In that moment, Amara felt betrayal cut deep. Not only from her stepmother, but from the father meant to protect her. As she walked away, her tears soaked the red earth. She lifted her eyes to the sky and whispered, "God, I don't understand. Please don't leave me. Be my mother. Be my strength." The wind rustled through the palm trees, as if answering her prayer. And though her feet were heavy, something inside her refused to break. That day, Amara was cast out, but destiny was only beginning to carve her path. Back in Umui village, the air buzzed with excitement. Mothers rushed about, tying wrappers on their daughters. Young girls giggled nervously, adjusting beads on their necks and waists. The prince had sent word. He was ready to choose his bride. Inside Papa Amara's compound, Mama Joy moved like fire. She brought out her hidden treasures, thick coral beads, a shining anklet, and her finest George wrapper saved for years. "Stand still, Joy," she barked, rubbing palm kernel oil on her daughter's skin until it gleamed. "See how you shine. The prince will not look at another maiden once he sees you." Joy admired herself in a cracked mirror. "Mama, you worry too much. Look at my face. Look at my hips. I was born for this." Mama Joy clapped proudly. "That is my child. Forget Amara, she is gone. This throne is yours." The village square came alive. Drums spoke. Flutes sang. Maidens gathered, bodies glowing with camwood and oil, beads jingling at their waists. Parents whispered prayers. Hope hung thick in the air. Then the prince arrived, tall and graceful, his white agada glowing like moonlight, red cap sitting proudly on his head. One by one, the maidens stepped forward, bowing respectfully. Then, Joy stepped out. "Watch me, Mama," she whispered with a smirk, strutting forward like a peacock. Her wrapper swayed boldly as she stepped forward. Her waist beads jingled loudly, almost as if they were announcing her arrival before she could speak. "Greetings, my prince," Joy declared. Her chin was lifted high. Her hands rested proudly on her waist. She did not bow. She did not soften her gaze. Instead, she stood tall, chest forward, like a woman who already believed the throne belonged to her. The village square fell silent. Mothers gasped. Fathers exchanged uneasy glances. Even the drummers slowed their rhythm. The prince's eyes narrowed slightly. "Is this how you greet your elders?" he asked quietly, his voice calm but firm. Joy tossed her braids over her shoulder and let out a light laugh. "My prince," she replied confidently, "I thought you would notice confidence above all else. After all, I am the most beautiful maiden here." A murmur swept through the crowd like dry leaves caught in harmattan wind. Some people laughed nervously. Others shook their heads. A drummer completely missed his beat. The prince straightened in his seat, his white garment glowing under the sun. "Beauty without respect," he said, his voice carrying across the square, "is like soup without salt. It has no taste." The crowd exploded in laughter. Women clapped loudly. Young maidens covered their mouths to hide their giggles. Joy froze. The pride drained from her face, replaced by burning embarrassment. Her ears felt hot. Her throat tightened. At the back of the crowd, Mama Joy's confident smile melted like oil poured into fire. Her fingers tightened around her wrapper. This was not the glorious moment she had imagined. But fate was far from finished. The square slowly grew quiet again. The drums softened. The maidens shifted nervously in line. Everyone waited for the prince's final choice. The prince continued observing the girls. Beautiful faces, glowing skin, graceful movements. Yet his heart remained untouched. He leaned slightly toward his chief guard. "Have you noticed?" he murmured. "The one I am searching for is not here." The guard frowned. "My prince, all the maidens of Umui were summoned. None should be missing." But the prince shook his head slowly. His mind drifted back to a quiet morning weeks earlier. He had disguised himself as a simple hunter, walking along the bush path near the stream. That was when he saw her. A slender girl in a plain wrapper tied modestly across her chest. No heavy beads. No shining ornaments. Just laughter. Soft and genuine. He remembered the way she bent to help an elderly woman lift a calabash before filling her own. The humility in her eyes. The grace in her movements. Natural, unaware of itself. That girl was Amara. And now, seated on the royal stool, scanning rows of painted faces, he knew something was wrong. She was not there. The prince rose slightly, his presence commanding complete silence. "Elders of Umui," he said, his deep voice steady and powerful. "There is one maiden missing. The one with quiet eyes and a humble heart. Where is she?" The elders exchanged confused glances. "My prince," one elder replied carefully, "all maidens of this village were summoned. None should be absent." The prince's voice grew firmer. "No. There is one missing. I saw her at the stream not long ago. She carried herself with dignity without trying. She gave water to an old woman before thinking of herself. A heart like that cannot be hidden." A wave of whispers spread across the crowd. Women leaned closer to one another. Could he mean Amara? Someone whispered. But Papa Okafor's daughter was sent away. "Yes," another added quietly. "Mama Joy drove her out. They said she was stubborn." At the back of the gathering, Mama Joy's heart nearly stopped. Her breath caught in her throat. Her palms grew cold. The web she had carefully woven was beginning to tear. And destiny was knocking at the very door she thought she had closed.